Hey everybody, neoflynn, and we are here with our first ever video review. And as you can see, it's Ubisoft Montreal's TMNT for the Xbox 360. I did have a decent time playing this game. It wasn't what I expected when I originally set out to play it. I'll get to that once we start up the level here. I'll get to what I expected. As you can see here, the story is presented in kind of a comic book style. You've got these still frames with the characters, doing a voiceover. Basically, you're telling this story of basically, how the turtles nearly broke up, but realized together they're stronger than they ever could be individually. It's got some humor in it. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's serviceable. It moves the game along. And, it does give you a reason to keep playing to see the story play out. So as we get into the gameplay here, as you can see, we're playing as Leonardo here. And you'll notice right off the bat, it is not your classic beat-em-up Turtles, which is what I thought it was going to be when I originally got the game. I was talking to my friend about it, and he actually described it to a T. It is Prince of Turtles. Very Prince of Persia inspired, as you can see. As I totally fall off there. But yeah, the controls and the style of gameplay is very Prince of Persia-esque. The controls are my one big gripe with the game, in that certain moves have the same style of button pushes. Like, you see him do a wall run there. To do the wall run, you're pushing up and, jump, and you run along the wall. Well, you also push up and jump to vertically scale a wall. As you kind of see there, that I did that at the top there. That's the same button push. So a lot of times what will happen is you get in certain areas of the game, and you'll want to do one thing, and the controls will make you do another thing, and you'll die. I think actually right here, yeah, you'll see I wanted to jump up there, and I kind of jumped back, and then, trying to jump up on the ledge, it jumped me sideways. So, you'll get a few kind of silly deaths, but it's nothing game-breaking. Nothing that can't be overcome once you kind of get used to how it works, and how you need to position yourself to get the move you want. So, it's a minor gripe, a minor frustration, but nothing game-breaking. As again, he kind of did the vertical wall run when I didn't really want him to there. But audio in the game is decent. The music is pretty good. The characters' voices are really good. The only thing I will say there is that the one-liners that they spew out tend to get really old really fast, as they have about the same 2 or 3 one-liners that they just keep repeating over and over again. I will say this about the level layout. It is very easy to tell, for the most part, where you need to go. As you can see, the little coins, as you see me try and go back to get this one that I missed there, kind of lead you along. Anytime you're not entirely sure where you should go, there's usually a coin to kind of show you the direction that you need to go. So, a very linear style level layouts, even though they don't look that way, but you can always find your way around. And as you saw a while back there, Michelangelo here joined the team. Basically, a few of the levels have this game mechanic where as you're playing along, the other turtles will kind of join your team throughout the stage, and then you can switch independently through the turtles. And they do have a couple of team-up moves where if you have a big gap, you can call your other turtle in to get you across the gap. So, other than that, the team play mechanic really doesn't come into effect until the very, very end of the game. The very last boss, actually, where you have to use each of the turtles' team-up moves to defeat the final boss. Outside of that, the team-up moves really don't come into play. Each turtle has a special move that they can use, and that sometimes through the levels you'll have to switch to a certain level, a certain turtle to get through a certain part in the level, because he uses his special move to get through. But outside of that, really, you can play with any turtle as you want. As we get to the first combat scene in this level, this is one thing that really let me down in the game. These sections are very repetitive and get very boring very fast as you... It's pretty much the same thing over and over again. There's no variance. And really, for the most part, it doesn't really matter what turtle you use, although a few turtles are better at dealing with large groups of enemies. I think Donatello and Leo are probably the best at dealing with large groups of enemies. As you see, if you kill 10 enemies in a row, you fill that little star bar at the top. And then you're going to go into the slow motion where you're kind of super powered, basically. If you get hit, it breaks that. If you get hit while you're trying to kill the 10 enemies, it also breaks that. You have to start all over. But as you can see, it's just kind of, button mash fest. And like I said, it gets pretty boring pretty fast. The only exception to that are the boss fights, which are decent. I will say the final end stage where you fight all the bosses that you fought previously in a row was extremely frustrating. The first guy especially, he's got this sledgehammer move that can pretty much kill you in one shot if you're not careful about where your turtle is, and you can be wailing on him, nearly have him dead, and he'll pull that move and you'll be in the wrong place at the wrong time and he'll kill you and you have to start all over. So that can get a little frustrating, but overall the game was a lot of fun to play through. I would recommend, renting it. Like I said, I have GameFly. I got it from GameFly. If you remember my game room tour, it was sitting on the cabinet during that tour. So if you have GameFly, or if you use your local Blockbuster or whatever, or you can borrow it from somebody, it's definitely worth playing through. I did have fun with the game, despite its few minor flaws. Not, like I said, nothing game breaking. But I almost prefer, the old school Turtles in Time on Xbox Live Arcade almost to this one, just because I think straight beat 'em up is a little bit more fun. If I wanted to play Prince of Persia style, I'd go play Prince of Persia. But as you see there, control scheme kind of screwed me on that one. Luckily, I didn't die there, but had to do this little section over again. The game probably all told 10 to 15 hours tops. Maybe not even quite that, maybe more like 5 to 10 hours. But like I said, it's decent enough. And if you're an achievement point guy, like I kind of am, you can 1000 point this just by playing through the game pretty much. There's a couple achievements that you have to... One is basically play through a challenge level, which is once you beat the level, you can go back through and play the level again with this challenge mode, basically. You just do that once, and that's one achievement. So as we jump ahead here, I'm going to jump to the end of the level so you can see the boss fight. The rest of that level is pretty much the same thing. So here you see the boss fight. This first guy was pretty much just beat on him. And this is one place where the switching of the turtles does come in a little bit handy, because they each have their own independent life bar. So you can switch independently. If one's about to die, you can switch to another one. Nothing too difficult about this boss fight, but just wanted you guys to see the actual completion of the level. So like I said, if I was rating it, scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it about a 7, 7.5. Like I said, definitely worth a playthrough. I don't know what this game runs, retail now. I imagine it's probably pretty cheap. It's an older title. So if you could pick it up, less than $10, it's definitely worth it. Or if you could rent it, off your GameFly or whatever, definitely worth doing that. The only thing that really disappointed me was there's no co-op. You know, Turtles is one of those franchises that really lends itself to co-op gameplay, and sadly there wasn't any in this one, so that was kind of a disappointment. But outside of, you know, that, as you see, he gets into this mode where he runs into the wall and then you just run up and wail on him. And really, like I said, the game is not difficult at all, save for the last boss fight, but once you figure out the trick to that, pretty easy. As you see this boss go down pretty easy. So anyway, there you go. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Xbox 360. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more classic gaming action and game reviews. And there you go.